What's up, y'all? It's your boy eBay Fight Predictions in the building, and I'm gonna be covering the UFC Vegas 18 card. I'm gonna give y'all my picks. It's a pretty good card, but I do have some extra, like some little. It's breaking news for me, but you guys will find out when the video comes out. But they had added a fight with Yusuf Zalal, and let me put this in the big screen. And Choi. I think that's just how you say the guy's name. I don't want to be too disrespectful to the cat. But yeah, let me find the stats though. I got it right here. Yeah, it's dude, man. Yusuf Zalal, he is one hell of a player though. I'll give him that. That is crazy. I guess it just he took the fight like super recently, so I think that's on a week's notice. But yeah, let's get to it, man. I'll break it down. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm just trying to get these stats in my face. Okay, yeah. Yusuf Zalal comes in 10-3. Fights out of Morocco. No, not he doesn't fight out of Morocco. He is I think from there. Fights out of Denver, Colorado. Age 24, height 5'10", and reaches 75. Choi is 8-3. Fights out of Korea, age 28. Height 6 foot and it reaches 74. So Zalal does have the reach advantage by one. Obviously, Choi has the height advantage. So it's going to be really interesting. And he's a little older than him. So, but Zalal is coming off a recent loss against Topuria, and his most recent one was against Peter Barrett. Choi is coming off a win over Suman Mokhtarian via decision. And his most recent loss was to Gavin Tucker, who looked amazing against a Billy Q. So that's not really a bad loss to have. When I look at the fight, it's with all due respect to Choi, Choi's he's a decent striker, and he's kind of good in certain areas. He's good with his distance, but I think Zalal is just one of these. He's on a different level than the cat. I think he's one of these MMA fighters that are just good at everything. I've seen him, against Topuria. Topuria was kind of better than him at everything. But Topuria he's a guy on a roll for, to be ranked. I truly believe that guy is super, super talented. But I think Zalal, I think this is a really good matchup for him. And I think he gets it done via decision. I'm going Zalal via decision. That's about it for that one. But next up, we got Adi Osborne versus Denz Bondora. Or Denny's. I'm gonna call him Denny's. Adi comes in 8-3, fights out of Wisconsin. Age 29, height 5'7". His most recent win was against Amaruddin Villarreal. I think that was via arm triangle. Denny's is 14-2, fights out of Ukraine. Age 28, height 5'6". Most recent one was against Kenan Jafarli, and his most recent loss was against Ziafa Shang. Odd's most recent loss was to Brian Keller via guillotine. It was on the Connor Cowboy card. It's interesting that they put those guys on the main card. I think I'm gonna say this simply. I think Denny's gonna get this done. I got him round 2 submission. I didn't like how Adi got submitted so quickly against Brian Keller. I know Brian Keller got a lethal guillotine, but I gotta go Denny's. You could go Denny's Bondor via ground and pound in the second round. I could see that happening. He's like really good ground and pound, really good grappling. He looks good there, but I think he gets it done. Next fight, Devontae Smith versus Alex Del Silva. Devontae comes in 10-2, fights out of Colorado. Age 27, height 5'9", and reaches 76. Most recent win was against Dong Hyun Maya, and his most recent loss was to Kama Worthy. Alex is 21-3, fights out of Brazil. Age 25, height 5'8", and reaches 73. Most recent one was against Rogero, and his most recent loss was to Brad Rydell. I was actually really impressed with Alex Del Silva. He looked, amazing in that fight. He won round. I hold Brad Rydell in a high regard, man. I think that guy's has a lot of, what he was able to do to Magomed Mustafayev, man. Like, I was impressed. I was like, wow, this kid has some skill. So and Alex did really good against him. Devontae Smith was a guy that everyone was looking at like, oh, he's going to be special. He was part of one of the biggest upsets of 2019 when Kama Worthy knocked him out. He was a teammate of his, so it's a little like there's more. It's more complicated than just an upset. It was more like that's understandable. Teammates, it's weird. Like like Robbie Lawler, Tyron Woodley, if you remember that. Like T Wood just knocked him the fuck out. And back in the day, people used to really believe this. But I remember I used to see this time. Robbie Lawler used to mop the floor with Woodley, Jorge Masvidal, Colby, all those guys, right? That's the story. But now you see him, he's getting whooped on by these guys in a real fight. So it's interesting to see that. That dynamic is very interesting. We're gonna see it in the UFC 258 pay-per-view, how well that dynamic does with Gilbert Burns and Kumar Usman. But in this fight, he's coming off that loss. He took a long time to recover the chin, so that's interesting. I don't know if that's why he did. I'm just assuming. But Alex da Silva, man, he is a good grappler. I like him a lot. And I'm actually going to take him. I'm taking him via decision. I know some people might go against that, but I'm taking him. I'm taking him via decision. I think he can get it done. Next up, Julio Arce versus Timur Valiev. Julio comes in 16-4, fights out of New Jersey, age 31, height 5'7", and reaches 70.5. Valiev is 16-2, fights out of Russia, age 31, height 5'7", and it reaches 67. Timur's most recent win was against Taguri Costa. And in my humble opinion, I know they consider this a no contest, but Valiev's most recent loss was to Trevin Jones. I don't care what nobody said. Arce, his most recent win was against Julian Rosa, and his most recent loss was against Hakeem Adaudu via split decision. So it was a close fight. Julio Arce is a good fighter, man. He got wins over Dan Ige. He's a good guy. Valiev is This is basically a pick 'em. Arce, if he doesn't have a distinct advantage over you, I just don't see him finishing guys. I see this going to the judges, and whoever gets it there, and I don't think Arce is gonna do enough. I think Valiev is gonna do enough spinning bullshit, and enough wrestling and to win the fight, and I think he gets it done. I think he's gonna take it by decision. This one I'm not confident in. This is a pick I can see going either way. But in terms of notable wins in the UFC, gotta go with Arce. So and Julian Rosa looked good against Sean Woodson, so he's beating some good guys. Next up, Mike Rodriguez versus Danilo Marquez. Mike comes in 11-5, fights out of Massachusetts, age 31. Sorry, y'all. Height 6'4", reach at 82.5. Marquez is 10-2. Fights out of Brazil, age 35, height 6'6", which is crazy, and reaches 77.5. So it's crazy. He's hella tall, but Mike Rodriguez still has that reach on him, which is nuts. Danilo's most recent was against Kadis Ibrahimov, and his most recent loss was to Myron Dennis. Mike's most recent win was against Marcin Pichinoya, and his most recent loss is to Ed Herman, man. That brought literal joy in my eyes. I know he got cheated, but I picked Ed Herman, and Ed Herman got it done. Mike Rodriguez just showing me he's not a good grappler. Against Devin Clark back in the day when they were really trying to hype up Mike Rodriguez, Devin Clark ended all that. I think Danilo Marquez is going to surprise some people. I was actually surprised against when he was able to out-grapple Kadis Ibrahimov, and I know Kadis was on a 3-fight skid. So you can say whatever you want about him, but I think he's a good fighter in terms of just how he uses his size. And Rodriguez, you can say whatever you want, but I think he's gonna go on a skid, man. He kind of does. Mike Rodriguez is an interesting guy, man. It's hard, but I'm gonna go Marquez by decision. But I will say what goes against that, Mike doesn't like to go on a 2-fight losing streak. I've noticed that he's either 1-1. So, but I'm gonna take my chances with Marquez. I think Marquez gets this done by decision. Next fight, what's her name? Marina Reneau versus Macy Chiasson. Reneau comes in 9-6-1, the number 10 bantamweight in the world. Fights out of California, age 43, height 5'6", and reaches 68. Her most recent was against Sarah McMahon, and her most recent loss was to Raquel Pennington. Macy 6-1, fights out of Dallas, Texas, age 29, height 5'11", and reaches 72. Her most recent one was against Shayna Young, and her most recent loss was to Lena Landsberg. And she's also the number 12 bantamweight in the world. This is a good fight. I think Macy, she's a good fighter, man. She's a really good fighter. I think she can dominate everywhere. I think in the clinch, in the striking, maybe not in the grappling, but honestly, if she has top control, I think she'll have her way with this with Reneau. Reneau is getting older. Her last best one was against Sarah McCann. Sarah McCann just got choked the fuck out by Juliana Pena. It's not looking too good for her. I think Macy Tyson gets this done by third round TKO. I'm taking it, man. This old bitch gotta go away. I'm sorry, Reneau, you gotta go. Hey, she's old, man. I don't know what's wrong with her. Sorry for calling her a bitch, though. I just got hyped up a little bit. But next fight, Molly McCann versus Lara Procopio. I think I'm just gonna call it Lara. Molly is 10-3, fights at Liverpool, England, age 30, height 5'4", and reaches 62. Lara 6-1, fights out of Brazil, age 25, height 5'4", and reaches 67.5. Molly's most recent was against Diana Bilbidi, and her most recent loss was to Jillian Robertson. Laura's most recent one was against City Rocha, and her most recent loss was to Karol Rosa via split decision. It's a good fight. Molly McCann's obviously coming off that loss to, I don't know. Did I say Jillian Robertson was her last? Oh, that's interesting. I remember it's Talia Santos. I think that was her last loss. I don't know why. Top allergy be tripping, but she was coming off that loss to Talia Santos. I think that was on the Whitaker Till card. I remember that. Good memory, y'all. Good memory. But it was a good fight. Talia kind of dominated her, but Molly McCann is she's just a ball of energy, man. She goes in there to fight. She has a fighting spirit. Laura, I don't know, man. She didn't really look good in her last fight against Karol Rosa. I didn't know why it was a split decision, but it is what it is. They saw something I didn't, but I think Molly McCann she gets this done by decision. I think she's just, one of these girls, it kind of like with these girl fights, I think it's just you got to look at the lower level. You got to look at who's more aggressive, kind of almost like, and Molly, she got that dog in her. I don't know if Laura got that dog in her. Molly do. I'll give her that. She got a dog in her. But, and she kind of looks like a dog. Never mind. I'm going to keep my mouth shut. Next fight, Cody Stamann versus Andre Ewell. A good fight right here. I love this fight. But, Cody comes in 19-3-1, number 13 bantamweight in the world. Fights out of Michigan, age 5'6". Did I say 5'6"? What the hell? Oh my God! How old is this dude, man? Dude, I'm sorry, man. My thing was tripping. Let's look at Cody Stamann. Gotta find it, dude. I might be done with Tapology, man. Age 31, height 5'6", and it reached 64. I'm sorry, y'all. About that. Andre Ewell comes in 17-6, fights out of Riverside, California, age 33, height of 5'8", and a reach of 75. So Andre Ewell has a crazy reach. Cody Stamann's most recent one was against Brian Kelleher, and his most recent loss was to Jimmy Rivera. No shame in that. Andre Ewell's most recent one was against Erwin Rivera, which is not. Hey man, y'all, bro, Erwin Rivera's going. Yo, I guess I never talked about it, but what the fuck, bro? Dude stabbed his sister. And his most recent loss was to Marlon Vera. This is gonna be a good fight. I like this fight a lot. Andre Ewell's jab and his striking is gonna, we're gonna see how well it does. But obviously Cody Stamann is gonna try to use his wrestling in this fight to win the fight. The problem with Cody, and I've always said his transition, into striking into wrestling, his setups or his takedowns, they just need a little bit of work. But what the guy can do in just pure wrestling, he's good. His striking is good. It's just how you mix it up together. He just doesn't do it too well. It's like you'll see certain fights, he's like, I'm going wrestler mode, and other fights, I'm just gonna strike. And obviously, I know he's a Division II guy, but he's a good wrestler, man, good fighter, and I think he should get this done by decision. Obviously, Andre Ewell's a good fighter, but seen him on the ground with Nathaniel Wood. Kind of got choked out there. I think Cody Stamann should, repeat the same thing. He's a good fighter. He's going to get it done. Next fight, I'm actually super hyped for. Pantoja versus Manel Kape. Pantoja comes in 22-5, is the number 4 flyweight in the world. Fights out of Brazil. I think he's actually fighting at an American Top Team in Florida. That's what I think. But that's what they say on this website. Age 30, height 5'5". Most recent was against Matt Schnell, which is looking good after Matt Schnell just put a beating on my boy Tyson Nam. His most recent loss was to Oscar Askarov. Kape is 15-4. He's from Portugal. I think that's where he's fighting out of. Age 27, height 5'5". His most recent was against Kai Asakara, and his most recent loss was to Yoki Sasuke or whatever. I think that's Sasuke. I'm sorry, man, if I'm butchering these guys' names. But this is a good fight, man. Manel Kape was, the former Rising Bantamweight champion. Really good fighter. Pantoja has shown that he's been, his wins have aged well. His win against Brandon Moreno twice, by the way, he beat that boy twice, has aged really well, seeing what Brandon was able to do with Figueiredo and having a close fight and having a draw. Pantoja's a good fighter. Even when he fought Davison, he didn't look bad. I don't think he won a round in that fight, but it was a fun fight while it lasted. This is gonna be a hard fight for Pantoja. I think Manel Kape is a good fighter. I think this is kind of similar to the Volkan Ozdemir, Jiri Pazowska matchup situation. I think they want Manel Kape to take him out of here, even though Pantoja has beaten good competition. Like Volkan Ozdemir, in my humble opinion, I thought he beat Dominic Reyes, and I thought they were gonna do that kind of rematch, but they never did it. But it is what it is. I honestly wouldn't be mad at people if they picked Kape, but I think Pantoja's wrestling is going to be there. I like Kape a lot. The kid, he's been doing mixed martial arts basically his whole life. He started boxing when he was 3. His dad was a former world champion in boxing. You could see it in his fights. He has lethal hands. He had finishes to the body. Like I know the guy. I've seen a few interviews of his. He's before he got signed to the UFC. He's a good guy. I like him a lot. But I just don't. I'm just honestly, I'm kind of hoping Pantoja gets it done low key, but because it's just nothing against Kape, but this is just it wouldn't be right to see Kape just knock out Pantoja and just take his spot. Even though that's the game and that's what makes fighting interesting. Nothing against that, but it's just like God damn, man, that kind of sucks for him. But I think Pantoja gets it done. I just think he'll have better grappling and just experience. He's been in there longer. He's been in there with tougher competition. Right, and I think he'll get it done. He really just don't get caught. Ian McCall got caught bad against Kape. Just don't get caught in there, and he'll be good. Let's look what's up next. But Karol Rosa versus Joselyne Edwards. Man, Joselyne Edwards is taking this fight on short notice. Karol Rosa comes in 13-3, fights out of Brazil, age 26. Height of 5'5", and it reaches 67.5. Joselyne Edwards is 10-2, fights out of Panama, age 25, height 5'8", and it reaches 70. Karol Rosa's most recent win was against Vanessa Melo, and her most recent loss was to Melise Gatto. Joselyne's most recent win was against Yan Wu, and her most recent loss was to Sarah Alparvia, split decision. Joselyne Edwards is a good fighter, man. Even though I picked Yan Wu to go get that done, just based on the camp, that's why I picked her, because Edwards was taking this fight on short notice. I said if they had a full camp, you could go check my video. I think I would have picked Joselyne Edwards. Joselyne Edwards is a good fighter. She's doing a lot of this bullshit, coming in short notice. But I wouldn't be surprised, if Joselyne got this done. I gotta go with Karol Rosa. Joselyne, I know how well she fights. I watched a lot of tape on her before. She's really good with distance. She throws good leg kicks. She has good Muay Thai. But I think Karol Rosa has experienced the grappling. I think she'll take her down. But next up, to the 4 fights that I got coming up next. All these fights I've done breakdown for, so I won't go too in depth with it. But I will give you guys my picks for them. But Michael Johnson versus Clay Guida. I've given my fucking breakdown on that. That will be coming out, I think on Thursday, and I think this video will be coming out on Sunday. So obviously Michael Johnson is my boy. Michael Johnson's on a 3-fight skid. Clay Guida's on a 2-fight skid. I like a matchup for Michael Johnson. Michael Johnson's somewhat similar to a guy like Bobby Green. Doesn't have his takedown defense, so I will say that. Clay Guida, really good wrestling, puts a pace on you, and tries to tire you out. He has wins over Rafael Dos Anjos, Anthony Pettis. He's beating guys, right? He's a good fighter. He dropped Brian Ortega. I always remember that he dropped Brian Ortega in their first fight, UFC, I think 199. He's a good fighter, and this is a good matchup for Clay because obviously a lot of his teammates have fight Michael Johnson and Andre Fili, Josh Emmett, Darren Elkins. So there's obviously an intent to fighting, him. But I think Michael Johnson, he's my boy. I don't think he's looked bad in his loss. His only loss I feel like he looked bad in was against Josh Emmett. And that's probably the worst loss I ever had to deal with because I actually put money on Michael Johnson to get that done via decision. And I was parading around because I had Michael Johnson winning that fight. And it was close. I will say it was close. I didn't give the first 2 rounds to Josh Emmett, though. I didn't. And he knocked him out. 1 minute left. Michael won 14 minutes of that fight, and that was the most heartbreaking loss I ever deal with. But he's my boy. I like Michael Johnson a lot. I got to go Michael Johnson via 3rd round TKO, for my boy Kape comparison. You always be putting me in check if I don't say, I didn't actually say Karol Rosa for Kape, for my boy Kape comparison. I'm saying Karol Rosa will beat Joselyne Edwards by decision. If I didn't say that, I think I caught myself. And yeah, but I'll start leaving what because I do picks on Tapology. I'll leave it at the end of the video. So if anyone wants to see my actual picks, go to the end of the video, like just on paper. I'll start doing that. I think that's a lot easier for some people. Next up, Diego Ferreira versus Beneil Dariush. This is the rematch. Beneil Dariush beat that ass the first time, and he's gonna do it again. Beneil's he's on a roll, man. You can't hate on the guy. He's done it. I've also done a breakdown on this, so that's gonna be coming out soon. Diego Ferreira's also on a good run, but I think Beneil just has his number. I think he's gonna get this done by decision, though. Beneil has been knocking out everyone, but I think Diego Ferreira's tough. I don't think he's gonna get knocked out. I think Beneil's just gonna kind of beat him the same way. Use his grappling, out grapple him, outwork him, out jab him, and just just be the longer range fighter and get it done. Next up in the co-main event, Cory Sandhagen versus Frankie Edgar. Y'all know Frankie Edgar's my boy. The whole world was against me when I picked him over Pedro Munoz, right? And the whole world was against me. I guess I'm gonna be, the whole world's also gonna be against me. I say Frank Edgar gets this done via 2nd round submission. I like Cory Sandhagen. I picked him to beat Marlon Moraes. He's a good guy, and I picked him to lose to Aljamain Sterling. So I know his grappling's super suspect. He accentuates takedowns a lot, and what I mean by that is that you see a lot of jiu-jitsu guys, right? And I've rolled with some of them, and we've wrestled before, and it's so weird. Like I'll go for a double leg, and the double leg wasn't even that good, but they're basically jumping all around, and they make my takedown look better than what it really was, And I feel like Cory's gonna do a lot of that. Go watch his fight with Rafael Santos. Even though he won that fight, Santos had a high crotch in there, and Santos goes for it, and Cory does a fucking backflip. At the end of the day, I think Frankie's gonna get this done. I think he's gonna fucking choke this kid out. Frankie has fought taller, rangier guys like Yair Rodriguez. Obviously, I think Cory has better grappling defense than Yair. Frankie can do this. Frankie's my boy. This pick is just based on love and bias. Don't listen to me. If you want to go Cory, go ahead. But I'm picking Frankie. Fuck y'all. Hey, y'all disrespecting a legend right there. But next up in the main event, Alistair Overeem versus Alexandre Volkov. The heavyweights go at it, man. I can't wait for this fight. Y'all know me. Volkov is my boy. I was kind of surprised to see Volkov as the favorite. I thought people would be blind and just picked Overeem and just go by fucking, his past and what he's done in Pride and, heavyweight and Dream and all that bullshit. and everyone would go with him for that. But people are smarting up, they know Volkov means business, and I think Volkov is gonna whoop on Overeem bad. 4th round TKO. Overeem has done well against guys with bad gas tanks, guys who are out of shape, like Augusto Sakai. He's a bum, and even Augusto Sakai won a round against Overeem. That was shameful. I think Overeem gets hurt. I think Volkov is gonna. He's going to put a beating on that boy, and I think Alexandre is like, you know what, fuck this. And there is a reason why, again, this is the same reason why Michael Johnson is fighting Clay Guida. Alistair's fighting Volkov because Curtis Blades beat him, and he's like, oh, this and that, my teammate, and, there's helping him out. And I know Overeem's going to go for his takedowns. He's going to try to make this a fight. Volkov is going to defend those takedowns, or Volkov is going to get up eventually. I think this is going to be similar to the Verdun fight. I think he gets him out of there in the 4th round. 4th round TKO. Alexander Volkov is getting it done. Mark my words. But hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to follow me on my Twitter. Don't forget to follow me on my Instagram. I know this video was kind of messy, but it is what it is. I had to get it out. I got work in an hour. But I love y'all and goodbye. eBay Fight Predictions out. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to comment. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to click the notification button if you're not getting my notifications. And if you're still having a problem, even though you clicked it, go click all notifications. Just do that. I don't know what the issue is. YouTube be hating, but it is what it is. If they're hating, they're hating. We keep trucking. We keep grinding. Love y'all and goodbye.